Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Abrazo podcast. Brooks and Blaine, as per usual. But today, we got a very special guest with us. His name is Jack Marie, coming from us live from Portugal, from the Damains Youth Academy. Jack, how you doing, man? Thanks for making time to be with us today. How are you?
Yo, I'm amazing. I'm super excited to be here talking with you guys. I've seen a couple episodes, so I'm very happy to be here and chat with you guys.
As are we thrilled to have you with us. So first, let's start off. How did Brooks? So how did you and Jack come across each other first? Like how did this connection? Like how did we have the privilege of meeting such a young, talented Canadian player?
Yeah, we've actually been trying to get this, I guess. We've been trying to connect for a few months now, right, Jack? We know a mutual friend named Rebecca. And Rebecca, I met here. She's actually my wife's friend who's in Portugal right now, and then met Jack and linked us that way. So this is how we do it.
Okay.
An Iberian connection.
Yeah, Portugal to Spain, Spain to Portugal. All right, yeah. Okay, cool. So, I mean, I guess a few things that I want to get off first. So, Jack, like for the people, when did you first start playing soccer and when did you know this is like something you wanted to do like as a pro per
Uh,
se?
okay, so I would say that I've always had like an affinity for the ball. I've always I ever since like I was four. There's all these videos of me just playing with the ball, playing with my dad in the kitchen, and then my dad like started to coach like recreational soccer. And then once I started to do that more and started to get better and really start to like it and grow a really big love for the game, I ended up wanting to get into the Tier 1 Academy, like a Tier 1 club in Nova Scotia, Canada, where I'm from. And from, yeah, a Tier 1 Academy, a Tier 1 team. So I actually ended up going to a private academy and training a lot more. And then it kind of just eventually fostered from there, having more touches and kind of really just falling in love more with the game and like playing it, watching Spain's like golden generation. I love to watch Spain. It just kind of happened really naturally and organically from just my love of playing the game. And now, obviously, um, I'm now here in Portugal playing in the first division.
Yeah, okay, and that's yeah, I was gonna segue. Yeah, so you started young, you're still, let's be honest, you're still very
Young.
young. And you find yourself in the first division playing in Portugal. So how did that happen? Like from young boy playing in Nova Scotia to going across the Atlantic to play in Portugal. How did that happen? What were the steps? What was the journey?
So the academy that I told you about, where I started to do extra training, in hopes of getting to that Tier 1 club, the academy director is from South America, and they fostered a really good kind of they were fostering a really good academy with really 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 good training, tactically and physically, like ball mastery and all the technique that you would need it. And then one time after one of the practices, the academy director kind of pulled my parents aside and said, does Jack want to take this like pro? Does he want to get to the next level? And my parents were like, yes, that's what he wants to do. And he
How
said,
old were you?
I was 11 at the time. I was like 11 at the time. So he told my parents that I moved like a soccer player and I had the potential to go to that level to play pro. So he told my parents that I would have to come to Europe to play at a high level before the age of 13. So that summer, we actually made a trip to go to Ajax for like camp. So that's like in like obviously it's not playing with um like not being totally immersed in the culture. It's like a camp for internationals.
Hmm.
But it was still really exciting to gonna go to Ajax. But then I actually fractured my patella, so I didn't end up going. Then and then COVID happened. Actually, I'd gone to Eddie Johnson to train. Would you?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I've trained with Eddie
U.S.
Johnson.
legend,
Yeah,
U.S. legend.
he's an amazing. So I trained with him, and for one summer, for one like fall, and like I went to him one time in the fall, and then in 2019, and then kind of like COVID happened, and we had still wanted to go to Europe. And then when the world kind of opened up again, my parents are both entrepreneurs. They've actually both wanted to live in Europe eventually, like live part of their lives there. Um, they just said, let's do it. So when I was 13, we actually decided just to take the plunge and move our whole family to Portugal. And that's basically how it's come about, and it's all grown from there.
So okay, so just to make sure the math is right. So you've been in Portugal for 2 years?
Yeah, a year and a half now. A year and a half.
Okay, 18, just okay, 18 months. Okay, and how do you find it? How do you like, for example, the academy in Nova Scotia versus now Damaense or Damanis, Damaense? Like, can you see the difference in the level of like competition? Is the training more stringent? Like, what are some of the main differences you've seen from like a North American program versus an Iberian, a Portuguese
Yeah.
program?
Okay. So I would say that like, and this is something that the director of the academy has said, like in North America, often people will go and play soccer, football, soccer as kind of like recreation, coming together to have fun. But in Europe, it's really ingrained in the culture. So there's already big differences there. But I would say like, there are two main differences I noticed when I first came to Portugal. One was the speed of play. It was just so much faster. Like even like in like the provincial setups and the tier one clubs, you would have time to take a touch and then kind of, decide what you're going to do after you took that first touch. And you just had, in general, more time on the ball.
Yeah.
In Portugal, everything is just faster. Like you need to know where you're going to play it before you take the touch. The pressing is so much faster. The transition is so much faster. The way they move the ball up the field is so much faster. The way they recover is so much faster. So in general, even like against some of the top teams in Nova Scotia, the speed of play was just so much faster, and that was something that I definitely had to get used to. And then the second thing is that like the best players usually in Nova Scotia, they all have really good like ball mastery, and that was one of the things that would set some of the players apart, how comfortable they were with the ball. And here I was really surprised because all of the kids here, they have like really, really good footwork, really good ball mastery, and it's also I think kind of because it's ingrained in that culture. And my brother plays for like a club here too, and he plays against like little 7-year-olds. But I'm amazed because they're already practicing bicycle kicks, headers, and they're also comfortable on the ball already. Like they're able to do these like little skill moves, and it just is amazing. Like it's really ingrained from the culture. So I'd say those are the big two differences.
First off, shout out to baby bro. Then he's already in the system too, following in Big Brother's footsteps. I love to hear that. Okay, so and then like tell me about this academy, because like obviously like I mean I've never been in a youth academy. I'm pretty sure Brooks has never been in a youth academy. So like, what's it like on a day to day? Like, are you living at home with your parents, or are you like at the academy like 5 days a week? Game days, like travel, like walk me through some of that stuff. Like I don't know like from a youth level. Like I mean I've seen a few documentaries about Rooney when he was a kid, and like stuff like that. You hear about like Phil Foden, but I don't know anything. So like what's that like? Like first off, like are you like living with the team, or are you like just going there every day?
So right now, like each club, it's kind of like it's kind of based off the star system that like the Portuguese Federation has. So my club currently has 3 stars for their youth academy. So they have like physiotherapists at the club. They have they have a weight and training room at the club. They have some stuff for tactical analysis sometimes. But really what it is there's training like 3 times a week, and then there's also a game. But yes, I'm living at home with my parents. And it's kind of similar. Sorry, what was the question? I got lost on a tangent there.
No, just I mean, yeah, so you answered one. I was like, are you at home? You're 3 days a week plus a game. So basically that's basically a full-time job. And then I was like saying like, like as far as like match days, like do you guys play Saturdays, Sundays? What days do you typically play? And then like are all the games like is the division like all in the same area or is this like all of Portugal? I know that's a lot. I'm asking a lot. I'm a curious guy. What can I say?
Yeah, so I love the curiosity. So there are different federations in Portugal. So I play in like the Lisbon Federation, but there are other
Okay.
ones like in Porto, Coimbra, and a bunch of other places. But within that, there are multiple divisions.
Mm-hmm.
And I often rely on other people to give me information about the divisions because it's really confusing and they just changed it. So even when I
Okay.
thought I knew something about it, then it changed kind of. So there's like the third division, second, first, and then there's the national division. I actually trialed this year for a national division club, and and the only difference is they train one more time per week, and they usually do more tactical analysis, and they have like a bigger facility basically. So I actually trialed there, and they're the club, and I actually trialed there late because I was confused about the trialing times and
Mm-hmm.
schedules. So their season actually had already started, and they had a roster of over 30 players.
Eesh.
Uh, yeah,
Jeez.
the rosters are very big here. So
Yeah,
they
it's a
actually
big roster.
so they actually sent me to Damayas, the club that I'm at now in the first division, um, and the and basically it's we play against all of the other first division clubs. So I have our season just ended, but we have a table of 16 clubs,
Okay.
um, 15 other than us, and there's
Mm-hmm.
relegation and promotion, and there's all these kind of things. So it's very intense. And there's coordinators, and sometimes the coordinator comes in and takes over for the coach, or the coach gets fired because the team's not performing well. So it's taken a lot more seriously in general.
Dang.
And
So how'd you guys do though? Let's get down to it.
Yeah,
How'd
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys do? How'd the season end?
we got because of the new system, actually five
Sure.
teams got relegated. So unfortunately, we were towards the bottom, so we did get relegated. But it was really a frustrating season because we it was a weird kind of thing, and this is when it's helpful that some clubs have psychologists at the club because some
Mm.
players were getting injured. I had gotten injured, but also we were losing, and I'm not joking. We were tying or losing in the last 60 seconds. Like you could feel it. The stadium was nervous, and it was really, really frustrating because we would win the game. We would often play better than the other team, and then we kind of just lose in the last moment, which was really, really frustrating. But that was how the season ended. But the team was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Yeah, like I feel like that happens to a lot of teams. And you said if you had like a team psychologist, maybe they could have like helped you guys stay I guess more as a unit and not allow games to slip away in like the dying minutes of a game. But I mean that's what an academy is for, to like prop you guys up and prepare you for when you're playing for like, let's not say Benfica, maybe Porto or like Sporting, but definitely not Benfica. But okay, so I guess let me ask you like less personal, or Brooks, I feel like I'm taking over. Do you have any
Oh, you're good.
so
I mean, I just have one question related kind of to what you brought up, Jack, about the like a therapist on site, basically. Like, I mean, I talked to Rebecca. Obviously, she was like, this kid. He's young, but he has like such a grown mentality. Is that something that like, obviously, when you're in these types of positions, have you always had this kind of mentality, or like back in Nova Scotia, or are you learning to like have a stronger mentality as you're going through these, losing games 60 seconds left and people's jobs are on the line? Like, how does that weigh on you mentally?
I would say that it definitely is something that I had to deal with because this was my first official season in the AFL because last year I couldn't play in official games because of like FIFA papers, so you have to wait to get those.
Okay.
So this was my first official season, and it's definitely more daunting to know or definitely more intense now that you're like in every game you're starting, and it's very important that you get results. But when I was four, I actually had an autoimmune disorder as well, and that severely affected my motor skills.
mm,
So my parents actually ended up having to go to the States to get treatment. And it's a long story, but basically I realized that in every like uncertain situation, you gain something from that. So even though that time was difficult for me, I learned how to talk through my emotions. I learned how to be grateful that people were trying to help me, and among other things. And the mindset kind of started from there also because my parents were entrepreneurs. So mindset was around me for a long time, very early. And then eventually it kind of just progressed into me becoming more of a leader within my teams in Canada too as well, to motivate the team, um, to motivate the team. And also in general, I'd always been really interested in mindset. So I'd worked on peak performance
Mm.
and comebacks, especially with injuries that definitely test your mindset. And
Oh, for sure.
yeah, and actually, yeah, so now, like, since kind of Portugal, I'm also a peak performance and motivational mindset coach primarily for other teen athletes. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah, so I do a lot of mindset work, and I think mindset is very, very important. But yeah, it's definitely something that I had never quite experienced the intensity and how serious it was taken here.
Definitely. Awesome. Awesome. No, I mean, I just like I'm a person that meditates daily, so definitely appreciate and understand the importance of having that positive mindset and what it can do for you if you have it, and what it, how it can hurt you if you don't have it. So that's cool that you're, as already feeling that at essentially 16 years old or younger. So pretty awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Go ahead, Blaine.
Okay, I got some
Yeah,
tough.
of course.
I got some tough questions for you now, Jack. Just a few.
Love tough questions.
Okay, first off, Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi Ronaldo. I've always really respected Ronaldo's mindset, so I'm gonna say him. And I always have loved to watch. Love to watch like Clásicos between Barcelona and Real Madrid. Um, and I love watching the three of them. And I know it's really weird to say I love watching Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, and Barcelona, but I love to watch the three of them. So, but I ended up always kind of really admiring Real Madrid's just winning mentality. And I know Barcelona's won a lot too, and I really respect them. But I really respect Real Madrid's like winning mentality, and I love Luka Modric and like Marcelo and Cruz. So I would since Ronaldo was playing for Real Madrid, I ended up really liking him too. And now that I'm in Portugal, it's like, yeah, I like him even better.
You're in Portugal. I
Dang.
like your answer. I like your answer, Jack. It's a good answer. Follow-up question. Well, I guess in a way you already answered it. I was gonna say Barcelona or Madrid. It sounds like you already answered the question, but just
I do really like Barcelona, but I would say that like in El Clásicos, I do support Real Madrid. I do like want Real Madrid to win.
a man of the people. You love to see it. Obviously, Brooks lives in Barcelona and he's a big Barcelona supporter. I'm also a Barcelona supporter, but I do have the odd Real Madrid shirt when the occasion calls for it. When the right player's on the team. So like we respect you and we respect Real Madrid. You know. Oh, also, I mean, I think I know this, but just for clarity, where do you prefer to play on the field? What's your preferred position?
I prefer to play in the middle, so like as like a box to box midfielder.
Yeah, and from the way we've had this conversation, some of the players that you've mentioned, I would have assumed that, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to assume. But okay, cool. So tell me. So here's a question I've always had for the academy guys. Like you always hear like so and so came into the academy and they started as a striker, then they got moved to like midfield and ended up as a left back, or so and so started as a goalkeeper, then they got moved to the midfield. Now they're a striker. Like you see, Trent Alexander-Arnold started off as a right back, now he's progressing into the midfield. So like, have you always been a middle of the park, box to box type of guy? Is that somewhere, or is that like something that you've been like kind of like pushed into as like people, coaches, directors have seen like, oh yeah, Jack, he has like a proclivity for, you know, being pacey and has a good engine. Like, how did that happen? Or how did you come to the conclusion that you're a CM?
So it's definitely not been that straightforward. Like even my academy director has told me that I could play any position on the field. Not 10 out of 10, but he thinks I could play any position. Um, And when I was playing for my tier 1 club, I always played as a winger, a left winger, because I'm right-footed. But my dad taught me how to use my left foot at an early age. And now people in Portugal know I can, like my teammates know I can use both feet equally. So I played on the left wing for a while, and then my last season there in Canada, I would switch depending on the team as a left winger or as a cam. And for like the provincial team, I kind of more trialed for the cam position. Um, and then when I came to Portugal, I ended up playing as kind of like double pivot, kind of CDM, but
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of freedom in that role to move forward. So I played it, even though it was kind of more like a 6, I played it more as like an 8, and my coach liked that. And then I kind of came, like I mentioned, this last year, I did trialing late because I was training back in Canada for a while, and I didn't realize that I came back with 2 or 3 weeks to spare before the
Uh-huh.
season started. I thought that's when you start trialing. But you actually start trialing in like July, and the season starts in October. So like around
Oh.
August, September. So having 2 to 3 weeks is not a lot of time. Sorry, it's not a lot of time. Um, and I actually ended up going to Damas, and they were like, "All we need is a left back." So I ended up having to play left back the whole season. I'd never played left back before, but I ended up being the starting left back for the whole season. And then because we
Wow.
weren't doing well, my coach got fired.
Ugh.
And then this new coach comes in and is like, "What are you doing as a left back? I like you better in the middle. We're putting you in the middle." So I finished the season as a left back, as center mid, which I feel like I play better, and that's what I have been playing since for like the last 2 months. So yeah, it's not been super straightforward.
Yeah, no, and I always assumed that it wouldn't be because I feel like all kids, like you said, like you started off, both feet, strong on both feet, play whatever wing, left wing, right wing. Pops taught you, you know, a good habit early on, but then like yeah, different managers come in and they're like, oh yeah, I see this guy, I want to mold him into what I want. One guy's like, well, we need a left back. Other guy's like, I like you in the midfield. Who knows? Next year you might have a different coach and he's like, you know what? Like I want him in the number 10 role. That's so. I just feel like yeah, it's weird. It's not maybe not weird. It's the right word, but like interesting to see how like positions change based off like what directors think your strengths are. And obviously, I mean, you like you said, you could probably play anywhere on the field. So it's like down to like. But I guess the question I'm asking is like, where would you? So like you're 16, right?
14, 14.
Oh, why did I think you were 16? Okay, okay, so you are extremely young. Okay, you are
Dang, I thought you
14.
were 16 too for some reason. That's even younger.
Yo,
Crazy.
yo. Okay, so let's just say in 6 years, then you'll be 20. Ideally, where would you like to see yourself 6 years from now, Jack? In regards of, league level of play and position.
I think I play best in the middle, so I would like to continue playing as an 8 or possibly as a 10, like as a cam. I would like to be in the national division, and not for under 16, which I'm going into. There actually is no national division. The national division skips here, which is really weird. Don't ask me
Huh.
why, but it does. Um, it does skip a year. So right now, like the first division is the top division. But I would like to be playing at one of the four. Like I would like to be playing at one. Um, I would say like probably like a 4-star academy. If that makes kind of sense, or like I want to always. Sorry, let me rephrase this. I want to continue to play at a high level. So right now I'm in the first division. So I'm looking right now to how I can play in the national division. So I want to get into that national division, and I guess by 20 I would like to be on the cusp of like playing in like the first team of like in like first division. So I would love to play in the Portuguese league, since I think it's an amazing league with a really cool high level, and they're really good at fostering talent. A lot of teams bring talent up. So I would love to like kind of be in one of those academies that has one of the like as a first team in like the first division of Portugal. So that is where I would like to be, kind of like on kind of
On the
breaking into
brink.
pro. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd love to kind of also I like big dreams that I would love to also kind of explore Canada soccer in ways that I could kind of go there too, since I don't know a lot about that, but how I would be able to do that, but I would love to kind of get into that.
When you say Canada Talk, you're referring to the national team,
Yeah, the
like
youth.
representing
Yeah,
Canada. Yeah,
yeah,
they're okay. Got it.
yeah, like the youth
Rubbing
setups.
shoulders with Alfonso Davies,
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like
Jonathan Davis. Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, yeah, lofty goals. I mean, I feel like those are very. I mean, who am I to say they're very achievable? I think they're very achievable if you keep working hard and like you're already in the system. Like you said, the Portuguese league is a great league for the talent, and then I feel like most of, not maybe most of the best players, but a ton of the best players. Maybe there's a little bit of bias from me, maybe you use. Well, I feel like a lot of the best players come from the Portuguese leagues, like.
Right now, yeah. Joao Cancelo, Bernardo Silva,
Enzo
Enzo.
Fernandez, then like James Rodriguez, Falcao, Ruben Diaz, Bruno. Did you already say Bruno? Oh, how could we forget Cristiano Ronaldo, Darwin Nunez? These guys, Allison Becker. These guys are ballers. Um,
You're in a good spot. You're in a good spot to achieve these goals, I feel like.
if you played for a team in the Portuguese league, which team would you like to play for?
so you're not gonna like this, but I would like to play for Benfica because last year when I first came, I I played for a Benfica satellite school. So from there, I kind of
Oh wow.
developed a love of Benfica. So I do prefer and really like Benfica,
It's all
and
good.
I'm always glad when and I was very happy when they became the champions earlier.
Yeah, no. So yeah, tons of my friends are like flooding my Instagram and Facebook feeds with like Benfica love. They're like they love Benfica, which honestly I feel like just the reason I like I used to live adjacent to Portugal in a little country called Cape Verde, and eh, you probably met a few. There's probably a couple guys in your academy who are like from there, but anyway, long story short, everybody out there loved Benfica, and all they watched was obviously the Portuguese leagues, and I was like, I don't want to like the team everyone else likes. And they're like, there's another team north in Porto. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll just be a Porto fan. And I always like blue teams anyway. So anyway, but yeah, no, I have no legitimate reason not to like Benfica except for like my roommates liked Benfica. So I was like, I'm just going to pick a different team. So we're not all on the couch cheering for the same team. But, I mean, I feel like there's another question I had for you too. Benfica, SL Benfica. Love that. Brooks, what do you got?
I'm curious about the national team. Like, do you know? Like, yeah, I know that you said that you'd like to look into that more. Do you know? Like, have any idea how that route begins? I mean, I guess you're on track for that, but like a youth side, like, how does that look?
I honestly do not know how that works. I
Yeah.
know like some of my like friends in Canada, they're kind of starting that kind of system right now. In that system, and I was in like the provincial setup. Like there was not never. I was scouted as one of the top midfielders for my age group. The team was never announced due to COVID, so we didn't. So they didn't make a team. They didn't go to
Mhm.
tournaments. And then I came
Lame.
to Portugal. So I don't know about that, but I think I really don't know how kind of that works. I think it's mainly based off of um, kind of. Well, everyone here also knows that I'm Canadian, so if there was like someone that had affiliation between Canada Soccer and Portugal, it would probably work like that. Also, yeah, because everyone knows I'm Canadian here because you have like kind of like your fiche and your 00.pt, and it basically has a whole kind of list of where you're from. So everyone here sees that I'm Canadian, or actually they see that I'm Irish because I have Irish citizenship.
Ah,
um,
Okay, so that helped get you to Europe then.
yeah, yeah. My family is Irish. Like I have, like we have
Okay.
Irish citizenship, so that's also what makes it easier for us to go to Europe. Um, so definitely, uh, that that, I think it's it would kind of be like a mirror, but I'm really honestly just guessing at this point.
I'm about to get real messy,
Yeah, I mean,
Jack. I'm so sorry for this. So me and Brooks play this sick game all the time. So okay, I didn't realize. So you have claim to Ireland. You also have claim to Canada. You're so young that if you continue to go through the ranks in Portugal, they might decide they want you to play for them. You know, so given the scenario, you need to pledge allegiance to a confederation, the Canadians, the Irish, or the Portuguese. Say you're about 21, you're breaking in. Who are you gonna pick? Who are you playing for? They all give you offers. Manager rings you up. Jack, we want you. We want you. We want you. You got three choices. Where are you gonna play?
See,
You're
my
on the spot.
family has also done this. They've said, so
Yeah.
you can easily do this. So where would you like to go? And I think probably it would probably be between Canada and Portugal, just because I've never been to Ireland really. Like, I love Ireland, I love Irish things, but I've never actually been in Ireland or lived there. And since I've been to
Okay.
Canada and Portugal, I see myself staying in Portugal for the upcoming future. I'd probably choose one of them. But I feel like at this point in time, at least at this point in time, I'd probably choose Canada, just because I've lived there for my whole life, and I would love to like win something with Canada. Not that I wouldn't love to win something with Portugal; it'd be great too. But Canada is also where like I've grown up.
Yeah.
So I think probably at this point in time, Canada. But thankfully, I don't have to choose that, so I don't have to worry about that hard
Yeah,
decision.
no. Yeah, it's just a fun game to play. It's a fun game to play. There's no wrong answer, but yeah, Canada. Yeah, of course. Makes sense. Okay. Other question. I feel like I'm just bombing you with questions, but I'm just curious, you're young pro coming up. Okay, so who is your inspiration? I think you mentioned Tony Cruz, Modric. Maybe you said Casemiro as well. I don't remember. To be completely honest, but who's like your? I don't like the word idol, but like, who do you aspire to be like when you're on the field? Like, who's your inspiration? I guess.
I would say like I so I'm gonna give you three for based on
Oh,
position. So
nice.
like winger, I love Adama Traore. I love his speed, and we do
Okay.
play differently. But I'm very fast, and I'm definitely not as strong as him. That's one of my big weaknesses.
No one is.
But
Who is? Yeah. Seriously.
yeah, who is? But I love him, and I love Wolves. Wolverhampton Wanderers is actually my favorite team, and I love him. So, yeah.
Portuguese connection there too, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
there's
for
so many
sure.
Portuguese. Gonçalo Guedes, Nelson Semedo. And then for like box to box, I would say kind of like Luka Modric. I really, really like him, and I think he's such an intelligent player. And then for Cam, and part of the reason why I like Ball Mastery so much is because of Isco. I didn't mention him before, but I love Isco.
Oh,
He's solid. He's class. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love watching him, and I think like his ability just to move around and get out of sticky situations is something that I really like, and something that I've also taken into my game. And I think he's just one of my favorite players to watch and in general. But but I would also say just quickly that two players that I've met in person that I really like. I'm actually like the youngest reporter for the CPL, Canada's Professional Soccer League, and I was a ball boy for the Halifax Wanderers, the club where I'm from, in Canada. And I met João Morelli and Elliot Simmons, who both played at the club. So I love them both, and Elliot Simmons kind of like a CDM kind of box to box player, like a regista. So I really like him, and then João Morelli. He's Brazilian, and I really like his style of play as a cam.
Okay. It's a very comprehensive. Okay, Elliot Simmons. Okay, he's is he Calgary?
He's recently been playing for Calgary, but right now he plays for Vancouver FC.
Vancouver. Okay, here we go. Okay, I found him. Okay, yeah, I wasn't familiar with those last two players. no disrespect, Mr. Murray and Mr. Simmons. I'm gonna look into those guys and see what I'm not like. What's the meme say? I wasn't familiar with your game. I apologize, but very cool. Very, very, very cool. Okay.
I
Well,
have a question, one more question, if you don't mind, about you brought up Canada a couple times, and maybe my questions are more geared toward like you as a person, just because I'm just interested, like your age, and like, I mean, in full transparency, my wife is pregnant, so we're really excited. But you're 14, so how, like, growing up in Canada, sent over to Portugal, how was that transition for you? Like, do you still talk to your friends? Do you miss your friends? Did you just know this was part of a step that you had to take to achieve a goal that you've set for yourself, or how does that look for a 14-year-old to just pick up and
So
move countries?
definitely it was easier for our family because my parents are both entrepreneurs. They work from home, like on
Hmm.
the internet. I'm also actually homeschooled, so
Oh, cool.
I didn't, it was more, I didn't often like go out like
Yeah.
every day. So I found that like the change was maybe a bit easier.
Yeah,
But
you
I
were
don't,
kind of groomed for it then.
yeah, not to say that I didn't go out though, because I went almost out every day to play with my soccer teammates.
Hmm.
Um, and I definitely do miss my soccer friends, and we often will talk on like Instagram or a platform like that.
Cool.
Um, but for me the biggest thing was I couldn't believe that I had actually kind of jumped in and done it, because I remember one of my first thoughts was it was dark, like we got here like it was early in the morning, like it was coming, like the sun was coming, but it was still dark. And I remember thinking to myself, looking out the window, thinking, what have I done? Because I was also pushing for the move. So I was like, what have I done? And then when we were going to go to a restaurant for the first time, I remember like just hearing Portuguese for the first time, really, like other than like on language courses and apps. And I thought to myself, I can't understand any of this. It's just like a wall of sound. It was like one super long word. And I was like, oh my gosh, and I have to learn this language soon too to be able to like really live in a country. I feel like if you live in a place, you should definitely try to speak the
I
language.
agree.
So I was like, wow. And then we went to the restaurant and we couldn't understand anything on the menu, and we ended up going to Google Translate. Um, but it was definitely kind of really also really eye-opening to see a totally different culture. Now I love adventure, so for me it was, even though I was saying what have I done, I was also having a great time.
Nice, nice.
um,
Good, 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 good.
but it was definitely really a really big shock, like a culture shock too.
Definitely. All right, sorry, Glenn, I didn't mean to cut you off, Blaine.
Oh, I was just saying, if you guys want to keep this conversation going, I just have to. I unfortunately
Yeah,
have
no, no, it's all
a
good.
commitment that I need to
Yeah,
move on to.
yeah.
Um,
We can wrap it
but
up. Let's
okay,
wrap it up. Yeah.
okay. Well, in that case, Jack. I mean, obviously, on behalf of the Abrazo Football Podcast, Brooks, myself, we would like to say thank you for taking time out of your schedule to have a conversation with us. It goes without saying, we're eager to watch you continue to make progress on your journey, and we look forward to seeing you, achieve and accomplish all of your dreams and goals and become, a not for was it the National League,
Yeah,
uh
the national
a,
division.
a starter in the national division, and leave your mark in the Portuguese academy and go on to be, a star player for the Canadians, as well as, let's just say, SL Lisboa, or excuse me, Benfica. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, thank you so much. For the people at home, thank you for, taking time to meet Mr. Jack Marie and hear about his journey, his goals, his ambitions, and we'll see you, next week on another episode of the Abrazo Football Podcast. Later.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes, thank you so much. Bye.